the to-the-point management of the secondary glaucomas. And we all have been making the attempts to give you the same. However, in that attempt, it is possible that we may have to shorten some part of that particular disease entity, because it's not possible to cover up everything about the disease entity. So here again, anyway, my job has been made easier by Dr. Mayuri Khamar and Manish, partly by speaking on the drug-induced glaucoma. Let's see post-PKP glaucoma and the drug-induced glaucoma part once again quickly. Post-keratoplasty glaucoma or PKP glaucoma is seen in nearly 1/3 of the cases who undergo keratoplasty, and there is a risk of the graft failure and glaucomatous optic atrophy if the pressure is allowed to remain high. It can be seen in the early post-op period. Besides other causes of the glaucoma following surgery like leptovisco and so on and so forth, I'm not going to talk about that. The main thing to be considered in post-keratoplasty glaucoma is the angular distortion of the collax of the trabeculum. And in the late phase, it may be because of the progressive synovial closure. This is the list of the risk factors. Unfortunately, most of them also constitute the indications for the keratoplasty. Besides, elderly subjects like aging beyond 60, or when we combine PKP with the catheter surgery and vitrectomy, they also increase the risk. Pressure reading beyond 21 should be diagnostic. We don't wait for the evidence of the other evidence of the glaucomatous damage. And of course, following keratoplasty, the best way to record pressure is the NCT, because you can't use applanation in these cases. These field changes are for the late post-op cases. UVM helps, because UVM detects the cause of the PKP, especially when the graft is hazy, and also it helps in planning the site for the surgery. Now, this is what I wanted to discuss. During the surgery, during keratoplasty, what can we do so as to avoid the angle distortion and the trabecular compression? To prevent angle compression, we can choose an oversized graft by 0.5 millimeter. Take deep and the short sutures, and the suture bite should be equal on both the sides. And then the goniosynovial can be done to relieve any crowding or the adhesions in the periphery. And also this thing, like if you do iridoplasty, this is particularly for the floppy iris. Now, if you don't do that, it is likely that this iris will be crowded towards the periphery and produce synechiae. Whereas if you put additional suture and do iridoplasty, you avoid a lot of complications. Besides, visco removal and a meticulous wound closure is mandatory for keratoplasty. Post-op period, we use steroids and cycloplegics, but please be careful. They reduce inflammation, true, but they can also lead to the secondary glaucoma. As far as treatment, almost all the drugs that are available in our armamentarium are going to produce some or the other problem. However, beta blockers and the alpha adrenergic drugs, they produce least problems. They produce only SPK, sometimes dry eye. However, myotics, graft rejection, carbonic anhydrase inhibitors, permanent graft failure, prostaglandins, cystoid macular edema, and so on, very serious. So maybe my choice would be beta blockers or alpha adrenergic drugs. As far as surgery, it is indicated for those where the risk of the graft failure is very high because of the persistently elevated pressure, or there is glaucomatous damage. Trady has good success rate and low graft failure. The implants carry even a higher success rate, but the graft failure is very high. This is not acceptable, so maybe the valve may not be a good choice in these cases. And the cyclocryotherapy or the transscleral cyclophotocoagulation is reserved for the intractable glaucomas, where the success is very high, but there are a lot of complications. You may end up with a sizable line. Well, friends, let's have a quick look at the drug-induced glaucoma. That is the second part of my talk. Let's understand that not only steroids, but non-steroidal systemic medications and the non-steroid ophthalmic medications, including the anti-glaucoma medications, they all can produce drug-induced secondary glaucoma by a number of the pathological mechanisms, right from open angle to the angle closure. Let's take steroids and the mefenamic acid as the examples for the purpose of this particular talk. When steroids are used for a number of ocular and systemic diseases by different routes, those below 10 years and above 70 are at a particular risk. High steroid responders, family history of glaucoma, myopia, diabetics are at a greater risk. More potent is the steroid, greater is the propensity for the rise in the pressure. So let's not forget that. And as high as 50% after IVTA and 30% after PEST may show a pressure rise after 1 to 2 months. The mechanism of the steroid-induced glaucoma is just like open-angle glaucoma. I skip that part. The diagnosis is quite easy. It mimics primary open-angle glaucoma, and you can always elicit the history of steroid usage. Burnt-out cases may mimic normal tension glaucoma. So if the pressure is normal, there is definite evidence that the glaucoma does damage, and there is steroid use. Please consider this particular situation. Prevention of this steroid-induced glaucoma. Check pressure every 2 weeks. This should be done for all those who are on steroids. Use bigger steroids and in bigger concentration as far as possible. However, once the glaucoma develops, stop steroids. The normalization of the pressure occurs within 1 to 4 weeks in most of the cases. Try to substitute with the NSAIDs, immunosuppressive agents, as far as systemic steroid therapy. Anicotinib acetate in place of IVTA can be used. Anicotinib acetate can be given in the form of the PST in place of IVTA. That can be considered as a good substitute. Topical anti-glaucoma medications, ALT, Trevi, excision of depot, PPV can also be considered. About the second part, I'll just take half a minute. The mechanism is simple, has been very well explained in Topiramate as discussed by Dr. Mayuri. The same mechanism operates here. The diagnosis, there is a history of drug use and it mimics angle closure glaucoma. And please remember that use of pilocarpine is a common mistake. This is just to show you that pilocarpine has been used. Please don't do that. Gonioscopy, open, angles are closed. There is UV infusion. Treatment is a self-limiting condition. Don't do anything. If you want to do, you can give pressure lowering for symptomatic relief, pressure control. You can use atropine, acetazolamide, imenton for the acute control, for the acute rising pressure. Never use pilocarpine, no NPI. Be aware of this particular entity. Thank you, friends.
Thank you, sir.